Zero. Zero. That is the amount. That is the amount of sympathy you will garner as an American white, poor white American male, or a wealthy one, or whatever. Doesn't matter. People will assume that you're wealthy. People will assume that you're rich, or that you have some sort of connections, or that you're set up, or that you can stroll into any office in America or the world, and they'll give you a $1 million salary with 3 months off paid every year, and all the benefits, free travel. They will think that you live every day as a dream, the greatest life imaginable. It's a wonderland. The world is your oyster. They will think that you are full of joy every day and that nothing bad could ever happen to you. Nothing bad has ever happened to you, certainly. And nothing bad will ever happen to you. Unless you are treated like crap. Now, you may think this is an exaggeration. It's a little bit of an exaggeration, but I assure you it's not much. I am not sure. I don't know. I think I'm a good-looking person. I think I'm a great-looking person, to be honest. But, so, I don't know. If you disagree, that's fine. But I think general society would say I'm at least good-looking. Can we agree on that? Can you make fun of me now? Can I say stuff about my looks? Fine. Fine. But if I am at least good looking, maybe I don't understand if an ugly white person has a different experience. It could be different. Ugly white American male might not be treated as horribly. And you might say, Caleb, what are you talking about? How have you been treated so poorly? Well, listen. People have been treated much worse than I have been treated, or are treated, or feel when I go into society. But if I were to contrast going outside, going shopping, being around women or people who are of another ethnicity to me, or yeah, I guess that's it. Even I feel like some other guys, I don't know if they have like a self-hatred and they project that on me or what, but I feel much less welcomed anywhere, most places I go in America than anywhere else of any other country I would go to. And I think this is just I I don't know if it'll ever change, and I do understand it, in that almost all the wealthy people and all the powerful people are white men. If you look at the numbers per capita, it's much more, Asian men, but that's not the largest group in America. So anyway, one time I went to a Walgreens, and this was in a very an area where there were not a lot of white people living, and I was getting like pretty rough like looks, and somebody actually told me to leave, and then I went to the to be honest, it was because I had my laptop with me, and they said that that I shouldn't be there with that. That's never happened to me in my life. But I went to the counter on Walgreens, and the lady asked if I have like a card, or if I want to sign up for one or something. And I said no. I said I didn't have the card. I wanted this discount, and then because there's like $1 or $2 off of some popcorn or something. And she's like, okay. And then she went to like sign me up, and I gave her like my name and address, and she's like, is this correct? And she had just gone like just hit the keyboard, and then so it was just like random digits and letters and the input. And I just went, yeah, that's right, because I didn't want to deal with. I mean, she clearly hated me, and I was the only white person in this area. I mean, did I have did she say I hate you because you are a white male in front of me? No, but I hear the same thing coming from people in terms of, some claiming that something was not derived from racism, some poor behavior. And then some people say, well, doesn't have to be someone saying outright they are doing something because they are racist or they hate a race. They can just do something. And yeah, I mean, you don't. There was no reason for her to hate me other than just because I wanted to sign up for this membership. Is that so horrible? I mean, she was scowling at me from when I first came up there. Um, this is way too long of a pause. But I think there are a lot of people of certain ethnicities that feel the same thing when they're in a group of when they're in certain areas maybe of America. It might be because of where I'm from, the Midwest, that it's more intensely against white people. Um, the sort of general sentiment. I have a friend in California who was a Mexican, and he said that he was like excluded from things because of, uh, or he was made fun of or treated poorly because he was a Mexican, and he's actually like quite mixed. He's actually only has a little darker skin than I do. Honestly, wouldn't be surprised if he told me he was just like Italian or something. He just looks like an Italian guy, but apparently it varies in America. America's a big place, so. But things like with Seth Rogen going on, he was on a talk show and he kept saying how white. He was using it as a pejorative, how white a Republican candidate's sons were, and they were fans of his, and he was making fun of them, and everybody was like cheering and applauding and laughing, and it's mean and it's racist, and even though it's coming from a white person, it doesn't make it okay. If there's a black person making fun of black people for being black or having dark skin, that wouldn't be okay either. But it's just perfectly fine. It's allowed in American society, and nobody bats an eye. But it's something that I felt very self-conscious about. I felt very, very bad, and the only time I got a whiff of joy and like sort of just being who I am was the first time when I went to Mexico, and people seemed happy to see me there. I helped out in an orphanage, and I helped to build some houses, and at the orphanage I didn't build anything. We just went there to see, and they seemed like really happy to see me, and it was a very sweet, nice time, just very loving. And I didn't feel like judged just based on the color of my skin. And, I'm sure, some people would not be happy seeing this video. But I think it's important to say how you feel and see what the reality is for some people. And, I was living in an area, a very liberal area, where most people had never really lived in a dangerous area. They were all from very, very wealthy backgrounds. I don't want to say all, almost all of them were from very wealthy backgrounds. Some of them hated me. Some of them, you could really feel they really didn't like me, even though I had nothing. And their parents were paying for their education. They were taken care of completely. And some of them would pose as being poor. And I knew this Indian American guy, who lived not in a gated community, but not just a gated community, not only a double gated community in San Diego, which is a very wealthy place, in a double gated community. So you had to go through one gate, and then within that gate there was another community that had a gate around it that he would live in. That's how wealthy he was. And he would pretend that he was poor, and he would be mad at me. He was mad at me for being white. He thought I was privileged and wealthy, and that I had everything, and he was far wealthier than me. Far, far, far. My voice even cracked. Far wealthier than I was. I had nothing, and his family has taken care of everything for him, and he was going to be lined up with taken care of his entirety of his education and his career path to becoming a doctor, which, if you don't know, they make a lot of money. But I was reviled by him. And again, to be fair, I am being fair. I was going to say there was some personal things, but here's a personal thing that happened. He was explaining to me how racist white people are, and how he said so we were in a car, and this is a kind of a lesson for people: is if you humiliate someone, even if it's their own fault, if you sort of indirectly do. I mean, it wasn't even my. I was just. I'll say the story, then you'll see. He was explaining that white people, again, so you see how he looked through everything through the lens of race, even though he had, I'm going to say, probably millions of dollars of net worth behind him, at least in his family, and I had I don't know, a couple $100 or something. But he said to me that white people think that America belongs to them, and I'm like, I don't know anyone who thinks it. I've never even heard anyone say that. And then everybody chimed in like, yeah, that's not right. That and he was like shut down, and you could see he really took that like personally. And uh, he hated me after that. He really hated me after that. um, I would again. This is in a very liberal area, and I went to some talk there. It was at this school, and the speaker was saying like really insane stuff, and I tried to walk out, but my girlfriend at the time she's like, no, stay, and like she wanted me to hear the guy out, which I understand hearing out somebody, but if they're going on and on and on about like crazy things, I think you have 5 or 10 minutes. I mean, it depends on how crazy it is. Could be even less than that, and then leave. If somebody's saying outrageous things about race or anything, you don't give them the time of day. You go, okay, I'm done. And he had this like ranking of of white people, and I was like, this is no, this is insane. What if somebody had a ranking of black people? That's fucking insane. Excuse the language, but most people are quite mixed anyway, which I don't even like these terms like black and white, because you could get someone who's considered in America to be black, but their skin is even lighter than someone who's considered to be white, or who is white. So I mean, take Kim Kardashian. She's European, and I know some people of African descent who have lighter skin than her, and that might be because she gets tanning or whatever. I don't know, but it's anyway. It's kind of another thing, but um the 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 person with the lighter skin that is of African descent would be actually, I don't even know. I mean, I think a lot of people think that Kim Kardashian is black or like black or mixed or something. So anyway, get back to the point. They had said this thing of like, how do we deal? Somebody had brought up this point, like asking a question of how do we deal with how do we help the black community, which is a weird thing to say, because I mean, it's like, I don't know, I see it, especially in America, everybody's like an individual. This sort of community thing, I think it's, any of the best, smartest people that I know, best business people, if they want to hire somebody, they just want to get somebody that will make them the most money. That's all they're looking at. That's certainly all I would look at. I suppose just a good person too, but um, uh, so this guy's like, hey, how do we help like the black community? And I'm like, how about we focus on the families? Like, have some, some consequences for the. This sounds like a fake statistic because it's too rounded off of a number, but I'd heard that 75% of the black families had were like broken up, or the father wasn't around, or the families were divorced or broken up, whatever, in America. And so I'm like, why don't we focus on the families? That should help mental health and raise test scores and get more efficient people and things like this, and they'll be just as well off as any other group, any other. I don't even want to say group, but any other like. I guess I have to say group. Anybody else, I guess, and the average person. Um, and this person looked at me like they asked me like, so what do you think they should go to jail? And of course I'm the bad guy, right? If I say, uh, I didn't at the time because I was like, oh, don't want to look like the bad guy, but I wish I could go back in time and say, yeah, put them in jail. If they're not going to take care of their kids, what kind of precedent are you setting? I don't want people to go to jail, but I much more don't want children to be abandoned. And of course, I was the racist white male. That I was considered the bad guy for the only person to put up a suggestion, the only person wanting to help is the bad racist guy. So that's kind of my experience as a white American male. And, uh, um, like I said, I would suggest if anybody else feels the same way I do, travel, go out. You'll see that people are actually embrace you and actually want to be loving and kind to you. I think I had a couple more stories, but I can't think of any right now. But anyway, hope this video helped you at all. Some, I guess, cathartic for me. But I do want the best for everyone, and I want everyone to feel loved and everyone to be helped and all of these sort of things. So, I don't know, comment your thoughts and stuff, and like if you want to, and subscribe if you want to, but I'd be interested to hear if anybody else had similar sort of experiences of just feeling not wanted because of how you look. I'm sure there are a lot of people, and I feel camaraderie with anybody of any situation. Like I said, where I grew up, I felt that to be the color of my skin was looked down upon, and you might have a different, whatever it is, visual thing about you that's not embraced by society and looked down upon and seen of as poor. And I feel closer to you than anybody who looks like me but had a different experience in their life. If I feel much closer to a black person who was sort of reviled because of their color of their skin than a white person who brought up in a society or an area or whatever that was broadly accepted and loved and cared for. But I have love for everyone, no matter what, and hope you do too. Praying for you. Love you. Have a good one. And yeah. Thank you for watching. God bless. Have a good one.